Thank you so much for staying tuned. If you just joined us, this is TMI. You can call it this morning on ITV. It's all about balance of power with the political parties and, of course, geopolitical zones and aftermath of the general elections. It all started when the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, gradually coming to an end, and people are like talking about who will be the next president, who will be the next group of leaders to lead Nigeria to the promised land. And of course, there was this notion of zoning, because it all boils down to the balance of power between the northern part and, of course, the southern part of Nigeria. And of course, also balance in power when you talk about the Senate and the House of Representatives, bringing it down to the states, balance of power between the executive and legislature. That was the notion that many Nigerians were having. The big question now is with the emergence of the president-elect, House of Reps-elect, senators-elect, you just name it. That factor, balance of power, do you think it was well served? Or do you think that we are where we are? Or do you also feel that there is no balance in all of this? Don't forget that Ojizo Okalo is gunning for the position of the president of the Senate. Don't forget to mention Umai also. Ojizo was like, it's my turn, give it to me. If we take a look at the balance of power, do you think it's a go to other dimension? Anyway, my analyst will be the one to throw more light on that. I'd like to start my introduction from my extreme left. He is a political analyst, political affairs commentator, human rights activist, a politician. Join me to welcome Aras Samuel Edigato. Welcome to TMI. I appreciate your coming. All right. He's very close to him, a legal practitioner, an Islamic scholar, political analyst, political affairs commentator. Join me to welcome Barrister Alao Amin. Welcome to TMI.
Thank you.
I appreciate your coming.
Good morning, viewers.
All right. He's an Islamic scholar also, and of course, Ramadan. Did you say Ramadan Karim right now, sir?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right. All right. So very close to me, a vibrant youth and entrepreneur, political analyst, politician. Join me to welcome Ehi Festus. I choose to abbreviate the Ehi, just EKI, because the Ehi is quite long. It's like a sentence. So I want to leave it at that.
It's pronounced Ekinoyomado.
Ekinoyo one.
Yes,
So,
yes.
nice. What I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking
Good
about.
morning, viewers. Listen, good morning.
Ekinoyo wado.
Yes.
Okay, let's leave it at that for now. I don't want to go with the interpretation. All right, Eki, I want to start off with you. When all this started, it was about the balance of power. You get to hear power must shift from the northern hemisphere to the southern hemisphere in Nigeria, not the geopolitical zone to the southern geopolitical zones, and you get to hear also the most balance also in power when you talk about religious affiliation, most balance in power when you talk about political parties, exerting their impact in various states of the federation, and that raised so much dust before the election. Right now, the election has come and gone. What do you feel about the notion of the balance of power?
Nigeria is a very good country. First, I want to say congratulations to those that won and to those that lost. Keep up the good work. And to Nigeria people, election has come and is over. Let's praise the selected leaders.
Selected or elected?
These elected leaders.
Okay.
Sorry for that.
Because like selected,
The
how?
elected leaders
Okay.
give us the best. In a country where we want things to work, I don't think balance of power is something that ought to be coming. Although I was among those that came up with that idea of power must come from the north to the south. But in reality, capable hands should be given the job. Not just because we now say, okay, the president is from the south, southwest to be precise, the vice president is from the north, now the other person, the Senate president, no. In reality, we ought to look for those that know what they are doing. But because Nigeria is a country where you have different tribes, where you have different religion, so people want us to feel together. There should be that feeling of we are all together. But at times, like what happened in the All Progressive Congress, APC, where a Muslim president have to pick a Muslim vice president. And I said it on her here that it is the best thing the APC have done as a political tactics, political mathematics. Because if they have not picked Shetima, you saw the way the vote came in, it would have been a big disaster to APC. Now, the main issue now is who is going to be the Senate president, who is going to be the House of Representative Speaker. Someone came and said, it's my turn. I, for once, would suggest we actually leave it to the Igbos. You know, at times, when there is a sense of belonging, people feel better. But if that sense of belonging is not coming, some persons will feel these people are not taking us along. So if actually we want the Igbos to feel that same sense of belonging, we can say, okay, let's take it to the Southeast. It's okay. It has nothing to do with playing politics by region or whatever, but just let these people feel we are one Nigeria.
Okay.
That sameness should be there. Yes.
All right. Al-Haji, first of all, he said that because of presidential election, general election, was like, look, he was among the people of the school of thought, people with the school of thought, rather, that power should shift from north to south. Later, he changes by saying should be by competence. And towards the end, he said you have to give it to a particular region. It's like, you know, dancing between two opinions. Now, what's your stand on this? We talk about the balance of power.
Thank you very much. I think as far as I'm concerned, the balance of power is of less significance when we are talking of performance. But if you go back history lane, we discover that we have been clipping to this balance of power. We want to give everybody a sense of belonging. We want to show that this is one Nigeria. We don't want to discriminate against a particular sector. Let other people also be part and parcel of the government and the governance. But the question now you ask, what are you going to do in government that you need to be there yourself to play a role? If actually we are going there to serve, we will not bother who goes there, whether it belongs to my tribe or my ethnicity or my religion. Now we have been observing this power, balance of power religiously since independence. But now, here we are. What have we benefited politically in terms of governance? Are we moving forward or backward? And we are still retaining that same ideology. Power must be balanced. It's because people go there to loot the treasury, to take their share. Assuming they actually go there to work, nobody will care about balance of power. In fact, you say, no, don't let my people go there. The work there is too much. Let the other people go there. Because the work there is enormous. But because people go there to embezzle funds, you see, for you to know, if you look at the private sector, we don't care about balance of power. We've established a company. You are looking for competent hands. Oh, I want first class material. Okay, I want second class upper. Those are the things you look for. You are not saying I want the person from my village or my tribesman or the man from my church or my mosque. You want competence. And that explains why private sectors succeeds. Most private sectors succeeds because it is not room for, there's no room for mediocrity. It's competence, capacity, what you can do, what you can deliver. But when it comes to now the public sector, that's where you talk of, no, which religion does it belong to? No, you can't, no, no, which tribe? No. So, and that explains why we are in this trouble. And unless we wake up to say, no, enough of this, we have been interested in balance of power since independence, and see where we are today. The colonial masters that came to govern us, they were neither from Anambra, nor from Oyo State, nor from Edo State. And they tried their best before they left. In fact, some are even saying that assuming we remain under colonialism, Nigeria will have been far better off. Because no matter the exploitation, no matter how they were exploiting us, taking our artifacts abroad, and then taking exploiting us, that the exploitation wouldn't have been to the extent to which Africans are now exploiting us.
Okay.
You see our fellow politicians going to establish refineries in South Africa, going to acquire properties in Dubai. You see foreign, you see capital flight in enormous proportion. Talking about bacha loot, this and that, to the extent that what the colonial master wouldn't have taken abroad, we have taken it there.
Okay. All right. I'll come back to you, Alhaji. Well, Comrade Samuel, what do you feel about this? The aspect of balance of power. He said competence should be the watchword. And without bringing it back to the federal character, we'll get to the apex of this discussion. But what do you feel so far? The election, the result that came out, did it really show of that balance of power in Nigerian politics?
Listen, thank you very much. You know, I will tell you Nigeria is a complicit country. Complicit in the sense that we are too ethnic directed, religious directed, and tribal directed. That is where we have a problem. And that is why you see that when politicians have to say balance of power, the balance of power in the real sense is not a bad idea, because it is a kind of a trial to see how competent this side or this side can perform. And we have seen how it has gone so far, though it has not been very beneficial, as my colleague just said, since we have been doing the balance of power from north to south, south to east, here and there, but it has not really brought us the desired success, the desired progress Nigeria really wish. If you look at this election, I would say for the first time, I would really say for the first time, a president is elected that really balance Nigerian population. In the sense that if you look at the president elect, the vote, the way it came, he got vote even from the southeast, he got vote from the south, he got vote from the north, northwest, northeast, and middle belt.
But they all got votes from this region you just mentioned.
Yes, in majority, despite the majority came from the north and the southwest. But in otherwise, he still got vote from the south and southeast to become a president. So there's a balance of power in the aspect of voters that voted. Why there were some candidates that constitutively got their vote extremely either from the north, not spread across Nigeria, the geopolitical zones, where there were also some that got their extreme vote from a particular zone, not spread across. So you will look that there was some sentiment in the election, sentiment of ethnicity, sentiment of religion, because that was the campaign all about. We wanted Indians to come to the south, we wanted to come to the south. While some were shouting, we wanted to remain in the north. While some were shouting, it should be the Christian, it should be the Christian. While some were saying, it doesn't matter whether it's a Christian or Muslim, important a competent person. Then now we come to the issue of Nigeria, balancing. I don't think we need to balance the power of Nigeria in recent. What we need to do is get the square peg in a square hole and get the round peg in a round hole. That is getting the right people, electing the right people with capability, the capacity, the ideology to move this country forward. Then we are not talking about fixing people in position. Now we have a situation, we have a Southwest president-elect, we have a Northern vice president. Now we need to balance that aspect of the Senate. When we say we balance the aspect of Senate, it must not be on ethnicity. It must not on a religion basic. How to choose a Senate president? Who's Okada says, my turn. Has it been more than 2-3 times there? Then if it's been more than 2-3 times there, that is what the Constitution says of the parliamentarians. Then he should contest for it. He has the right to contest. If there is a better, new, competent person that is in the Senate right now, that we have a trust and believe in, can do better for the Nigerian, why not also vote him as a Senate President? But why we should be conscious of the inclusiveness is because we have West, North already in position. I think all logic, by all due respect, the Senate President, the speakers of the House of Representatives should go to the Southeast, South. With all due respect. With that, we have all inclusiveness. There's no part of the Nigerian or the Republican part of Nigeria that will complain that he's not in the governance to represent his people, to speak for his people. Even though they already voted their senator representative, their different constituency. But that all inclusiveness should be carried along. We should not be biased about that. But when we are choosing that South, that Southeast, let it be a capable and a competent person, not just because he's from the South or from the Southeast.
All right, now he just mentioned one point, the number of times one has been there as a senator. If you take a look at it, we have very old senators there, though not from the Southeast geopolitical zones. But if you want to go by that, or let me rephrase the question, do you think they should go by that? Or because of balance of power, you must give it to this region? Don't forget, it's all about balance right now. People are saying that these elections didn't bring about balance. That's what many pundits are saying, that this is not balance. We're talking about federal character right now. Over to you.
If you check the Nigeria university system, there is something they call non-indigenous fee. A country where you pay non-indigenous fee and you expect an announcer to be president, vice president, speaker, senate president, majority leader, there's going to be an ethnic problem. So, first, if we're going to get the whole situation right, I think it is necessary for us as a country to redefine our stand. That was why I gave a pointer to the fact that in a sane society, it should be about competency. Nigeria is still a sane society. Just that things are not being done well. It's not our fault. When we were being colonized, there was an idea that was sold to us. That's why you see an answer, or let me use the word, the Northerners believe they are in charge of power. So they always want to control power. They will tell you, we are Nigeria. I have said, that will say, we are first-class citizens. As a Nigerian citizen, we are first class. Now, the elders of the country see that there's going to be a problem with time. That's where the balance issue came from. Then they will say, okay, Governor General from the South, Prime Minister from the North, or Governor General from the North, Prime Minister from the South. And what they do is, they work it in two lines, and that's where we're having little problem, the North and the South. You come to the South, they will now tell you Southwest, Southeast, South. In the South, the Benin man is even from Manijoma. So there's another problem there already. Then if you go to the North, you see a Fulani man, an Hausa man, they will tell you an Hausa man is from a Fulani man. Those in the middle belt, like those, there are some people in Kwara that will tell you, I'm neither a Fulani or an Hausa man. So where do I belong? Now, because of inclusiveness, and based on the fact that there are schools that still collect non-indigenous fee, it becomes very wrong for us to have Ahmed Tinubu as the president, Shetima as the vice president. If you are going to pick the speaker, the Senate president, we should look at the North Central and the Southeast, South first. But when some people cry, and the cry is a cry that we don't want them to cry again, let's actually make these people to believe that we are one Nigeria. That's why I said the Southeast should be considered. If you are telling me there are Senate rules that stipulated that a first-timer can't be a Senate president. What if the old-timer is not capable? Or let's assume the old-timer is
So the same zone as the
from
president.
the same zone as the president or the vice president. I'm going to let us use one rule that is not in our constitution to make some other person feel they are not carried along in this country. To me, no. So if we want to do the real Nigeria thing, because where we have problem in this country is someone will tell us that in US it's not like that. If you go to UK, it's not like that. This is Nigeria. If you campaign the way they campaign in US, you're not going to win an election here.
All right. Alhaji, Senate rule and what we have on the ground, still on the balance issue.
Thank you
Take
very
it from
much.
there.
Despite the fact that we say we should emphasize on balance of power and focus more on competence, we are talking of equity, fairness, having sense of belonging, the nature of Nigeria, the diverse nature of the country. That explains why some will justify the issue of the balance of power. And then, where you have rules, the rules are to guide. When you have laws, the laws are to be obeyed. And that explains why when initially APC came up with the Muslim ticket, and there was a lot of criticism because it was not against any constitutional provision, it was able to fly. And no matter how a president performs, if we say, oh, this president is God sent, he has done wonderfully well, we want him to have a third tenure. It's not possible because to be unconstitutional unless the constitution is reviewed. So we are guided by the constitution, and that explains why PDP, you have the northern presidential candidate will be from the north, and APC from the southwest, and then Labour Party from the southeast, then ANPP from the north. So there was no constitutional provision to say it must come from the particular sector. And that explains why we will now see that the constitution itself is not actually being tribalistic or being sectional, but the constitution has to be fair. And that explains why talk of ministers, okay, at least one minister in each state of the federation. That is reasonable. So it's not left for you in your state to look at the person that is competent and bring it forward. If you like, bring from your state the person that is that knows nothing at all. This is your cup of tea. Then if you look at another angle, another dimension, when you look at the minority states that are unlikely to produce the president if you go by numerical strength, like the south states, and that explains why even the southeast is finding it difficult to produce the president because of numerical strength.
Numerical strength.
Numerical strength. If we play less on this geographical divide and we emphasize more on competence, you will discover that at the end of the day, the states that are so-called minority will have more opportunity of having appointments. We are not interested in where you come from. We want competence. What have you done? What can you do? We want to know. Edo man has done this, he can do better. Another Edo man has done this, he can do well. Another Edo man, you may see 3 Edo man before even taking a man from the west or from the north. You say, how come? He's from Edo State, minority. You say, no, this is not an issue where it comes from. What you can do and what he has done. Your capacity, see what he has done, see what he has done, see what he has done. Okay, let's see what you have done. I've done nothing, but I have a lot of people behind me. No. We are not in numerical strength. The same thing when you play down religion, you achieve that. But if I'm to express religion, as a Muslim, I'm a Muslim, that man is not a Muslim. You want to vote for him? But the man is more brilliant, more intelligent than you. It doesn't matter. You won't go to paradise unless you vote for a Muslim. So this is where we get it wrong. And you not blame the political parties because they are like marketers who need customers. They will fill your purse and now make selections. And that's why you discover that when you pick a candidate from the north, you must be from the south. If you make mistake on picking north, the south you say, okay. Or you pick south, you're not going to vote from the north. So at that stage, the electorates have a lot of role to play. Oh, you mean that party has taken northern ticket? Oh, we will not vote for them. You mean are taking southern ticket? No way. So the political party make the calculations in order to ensure that they get votes. But having said all this, if we really become matured, you will now see a situation whereby the man from the south will go to the university in the north and will get a first class, while the man from the north will make a third class. Can see that competence. It doesn't matter. It's not what you're able to score. And that's how it should be. So we should play less, we want to start seeing in Nigeria where an Hausa man will be elected to Edo State House of Assembly, where an Edo man will be elected to a Northern State of Assembly. It is there we say we are matured. Look at Arnold Schwarzenegger from Switzerland. Yeah. He was a governor from Australia.
Yeah.
So he was governor in America. Yeah. What are you talking about? But in Nigeria, the first thing is, he must be from my village. So we need to start thinking of how to rescue the country, because we now need a deliverer, and the deliverer must come from Nigeria.
All right. If you take a look at the House, some are saying that this election was supposed to be an election that really balanced power amongst political parties. Some were tipping LP, some were tipping NNPP to balance the equation in the House, both the Senate and the House of Representatives. But as it stands right now, the APC seems to be dominating the House. Some are saying it's going to be the same story as usual, one party having its day. What do you feel about that?
Well, I don't think it's going to be like that. Despite in a parliamentary system, a ruling party always wish to have the majority. That's why you see in some countries, they do merge to be able to have majority to rule after winning election. Like in Germany, like Israel, you see what happened recently, to pick a little more smaller party to merge things up. But like in Nigeria,
coalition.
Coalition, yes, the measure. So the situation in Nigeria is still very, very different. We are still very, very sentimental about who is the ruling party. That it has made an opposition less valuable to the system. Normally, in a well-democratic system, a parliamentary system, even though you have the majority as a ruling party, the opposition still have the minority leader. They have their own say in the governance. If there are things they are not okay with, they can also, what they call lobby. It happens in parliamentary system. They can lobby the APC members to have majority to kick against the policy that is coming. That is when Nigeria will be a proper parliamentary system. But as at now, it is still going to be very difficult. You're still going to find out that majority of the appointments in the parliamentary system are still going to go to the ruling party. That's why many people will feel it is not going to be a change. No, I believe this time around, we don't just have two parties there anymore now. That makes a big difference. Before it was the APC, the PDP. And both of them, they are intercepted with each other. Because the members that were here before are also the members that are now in PDP. The members that are in PDP and the members that are in APC. They move together. They are friends. They are colleagues. So there was just like a family parliament. But now we have the Labour Party there. Almost about 38 of them. They're not going to keep quiet. We have some few members of the NNPP there now. They're not going to keep quiet.
Even YPP.
The YPP also from the southeast sector that want to. So we have a lot of new incoming senators and House of Rep members that are going to be very, very vibrant because they would like to play a role of change. Because that is the reason a lot of people voted them in to say, let's try these new parties. Let's try the new people. So if they go there to the parliament and play a gallery role, to the same act that was already there, then I think the next election will show a different moves entirely. Many of them are going to lose their seats because it is not what we are expecting. They have voted there to go and make a difference. So, in whichever way, the majority leader is still going to go to the party, of the ruling party, because they have the majority. The minority will go to probably who have the second majority following up. Then there are so many positions there.
All right.
There
So many
are
positions.
committees.
Yeah.
So which definitely there will be some allocated to the Labour, some will be allocated to the NNPP. So it is now how competent and capable they are able to carry out their diligent
Their functions. Yes.
given to them, that is going to determine how the parliament is going to move forward.
Okay.
Or stay stagnant.
Okay.
To the belief of the people.
All right. On the pages of the newspaper, there is one big headlines already this morning talking about a Milocon bug biting the Jews of Carlo. He says it's my turn. That's the Milocon. He says this is my turn. So let's see how all this will pan out. We can't talk about national without bringing it down to the state. Let's come down to Edo State. Way back, it used to be 24 by 24. One political party sweeping it all up. Yes, all of a sudden, it was 24 by 24. And of course, there were fallouts here and there. The number reduced drastically for effective and efficient governance, according to so many persons. Why some persons, also many of them, that still opposed to it. And right now, in Edo State's election, though it has come and gone, we have parties right now as elected members of the House not sworn in yet. We have from the APC, we have from the ruling party, PDP, and of course there's still some other parties trying to come in due to the inclusive nature of the election in their own end. But take a look at Edo State House of Assembly. The balance of power, do you think it's going to take a new turn?
Those State House of Assembly.
Yes.
At times when you hear those State House of Assembly, you chuckle because of, first, for the past 4 years, no House of Assembly. The one we have.
Your own opinion,
Yes, personal opinion.
Your own personal opinion, because
I'll
right now,
tell-
to
I'll
some, the
give-
House is functional.
Yes,
Explain it, sir.
it's
Yes.
functional to them. Now, in our democracy, two-thirds majority ought to make a law. When you have 24, you look for two-thirds, then whatever law they make, sent to the governor, attests the signature, the bill becomes a law. Now, the work that a two-thirds ought to do, we are not even having a two-thirds in the House presently. By virtue of all standard, all the laws, variably, are not laws. I'll come again. 24. And the law said, when a bill is presented before this Act of 24, we'll need 2/3 of the present Acts, which is about 18. Before this bill will be passed through stages, then sent back to the governor. With the signature of the governor, the bill automatically becomes a law. Now, those seated as the assembly members are not up to 18. Every of the appropriation bill that becomes law by virtue of all standard are not supposed to be appropriation bill. They are not supposed to even receive it.
Anyway, we've
I'm
gone
coming,
past
sir.
that stage
Now-
now. Let's focus on this new era.
The new era.
Yeah, because we've deliberated on that issue way back. Let's come down to this one here.
I am bringing something
Yes.
in.
Yes.
There is always a remote cause of some problem. The reason why many of us, the elderly, did not come to the street, those that were voted in, were running to Abuja to go and relax. They were not in Benin. So when we not see it, I can't be fighting your cause for you. Like in my local government, Ego, we're not having a rep member. The same local government now is an inconclusive local government. But thank God we have 12 PDP, 8 APC, then 1 Labour. And we are sure another Labour will be added.
Anyway,
Now,
you're not INEC.
in the present house that will be constituted, there's going to be a lot of problem. Reason because the speaker, if the speaker will face reality, some laws will have to be recalled. Although it might not be possible because of the Nigeria factor. That was why the APC were fighting tooth and nail to see that they have majority. It's not too late. Because the only thing that is constant in life is change. Now, if we are to zone, I guess we'll be looking at the Edo Center. The speaker should come from there. I am not a party to zoning. I am a party to what is right. But as a Nigerian, as an Edolite, I am first a Nigerian before I begin to think sense of reality or not. Let's play the politics according to the Nigeria way.
All right.
Edo Central man should be the speaker. That will not take us back to the rule of the house that said, okay, are you a first-timer? If you are a first-timer, you cannot be the speaker. Like what my brother here just said, laws are different from guidelines. Guidelines can be shifted, but laws cannot be shifted.
So are you a first speaker? Is the guideline not a law?
It's a guideline.
Okay, fine. I will come back to you first. Alhaji, this time I really want to tap from your knowledge of the law. All right? You talked about the previous assembly, though we've gone past that already, we've crossed that bridge. We're now having a new, okay, we will be having a new set because the election has come and gone, except for inclusive nature of some elections in some parts of Edo State. Take a look at the House of Assembly. Edo State, as I was meant to be precise. The issue of balance of power, where does it stand?
The old or the newly elected?
The newly elected, yes.
Thank you very much. Now, I would like to start from what led us to where we are.
But he just did that.
No, not his own approach.
Okay.
That is the only way we can appreciate what is going on there. You know, whatever view you express appears to be right. But if you look at the whole thing holistically, you know exactly why the problem has been lingering and why we are where we are. Now, 24/24 caused the problem in the House of Assembly when the former governor was on seat. And if, as a governor, you influence the election, possibly it was not free and fair, if, the word if, and then you are able to get 24/24, and then God appears not to be happy, that 24/24 will cause you headache and problem. And it appears that will happen. Because when electors are clamoring for change, the change is always against the party on ground. They want something better. Things are not been getting better, have been getting worse. So whoever is on seat, people want a change. When they are asking you to come and sit down, they believe you can do better. But once the problem persists, they want a change. You can see that the economic problem persists, security problem persists, Nigeria is still owing, Edo State is still owing. So whoever comes there, they want a change. And so most of the time, the leaders, they know that, and so they have a way of ensuring that they get those seats at all costs. Like what also transpired this last Edo State House of Assembly. And generally all over the nation, when each governors took, decided to take their destiny to their hands to ensure that they deliver their states. Now, so 24/24 caused the problem. And then there was a lot of insinuation, suspicion that, the plan is if so person that we put there as governor did not perform well, he will be impeached. Then so person will not become the governor. So we say, okay, is that what we are planning? That now led to another thing. In fact, those who will be able to impeach me, they will not even be in the house to be able to impeach me. So a lot of things inaugurating the house at night came up. And then, as inaugurated, if actually I was voted for by my people, I owe them allegiance to represent them in the house, I will be in that house. But because if there was a godfather who made me to win the election, who put me there, whatever he says I should do, I will obey him. I will not obey the electorate. And that will happen. when you now see some members of the House of Assembly not in the House, some in Abuja. Why are you in Abuja? Because the Godfather, quote unquote, says, come here. He says, yeah, my Godfather will do everything. But the matter went to court, and eventually, Godfather could not do anything. So, the blame is on the members of the House of Assembly who were elected by the electorates from their constituencies, and they decided to obey Godfather going to sit in Abuja. Or they decided to obey Godfather and say, okay, you go and impeach somebody, and you want to go and impeach somebody. So that was all. There was not a fight. There were reactions, and then there were actions, and then reactions. Yeah. Actions, but most of the time people talk of the reactions. As, they don't look at the action. A particular action led to a particular reaction.
Okay.
You are looking at it now. So it
what do we have now?
As at now, we now have a house, PDP having the majority about 12, then the APC about 8, Labour 1. I can see that this is completely a different scenario from what transpired in the presidential election.
Yeah.
When out of 3 senatorial seats, PDP had none, APC had 2, Labour had 1. Now, with this on ground, we have a robust House of Assembly where ideas will be cross-fertilized to ensure that we have a progressive Edo State. You have the majority who are likely to be having their ways, and of course the minority will be having their say. And then I will now advise those who have been elected to ensure that the interest of Edo State is put first. If anybody made it possible for you to be there as a godfather, now you are there, you are holding the mantle of leadership, it's no longer a godfather to you. The electorates are your godfather. Obey the electorates, serve the interest of people. And that is the only way the state can move forward. If the person let him say, oh, you fed the, you beat the finger that fed you. Say, God made you to help me to be there. I'm now there. I need to serve the people, and I need to fear Almighty God. But by the time you want to pay allegiance to the person who assisted to get that seat, then there will be a problem. And then one thing we should know, we would also want a rubber stamp House of Assembly where you cannot formulate policies that will assist the state, that you cannot take steps to also check the government in power, the executive. The executive rascality has always been there. They are always very powerful. Very, very powerful indeed. And that explains why you see some members of the House of Assembly, they do not want to step on the toes of the executive. And you see, that explains why the judiciary is unique. Unique in the sense that they are not elected. It is by competence and capacity and seniority. You have the CJ. So, even when the military takes over and the constitution is suspended, and then the executive dissolved, legislature also dissolved, the judiciary remains. The military dictators, they still need the judiciary because they cannot play the role of judges. But they can easily satirize the executive and be making laws. They can and be executing laws. They can take over the law of legislature and be making laws, decrees. But they cannot
do without the judiciary.
Do without judiciary.
Okay. All right.
So in summary, we should ensure that we allow bygone to be bygone. Okay. We all have our faults. There should not be quarrel. Insinuations that yes, we are afraid of impeachment. Impeaching who? Why go to impeach?
We'll come to that. Is it 12 now to 8, and of course 1 or 2, some of that nature according to the ratio, as against 24 or 24, that led to a kind of a commotion, chaos that led to the House fighting itself, or the party rather fighting itself, became reduced to a sizable number. But right now a new election has come and gone, and we have members elect. I'm going to do the same question at you on the issue of balance. Do you think there'll be balance of power?
Wilson, thank you. Before I answer your question, I want to clear an impression given by my 2 colleagues about the House of Assembly elected that we are in Abuja. You people are expressing as if they left Benin to go and stay in Abuja because they have nothing to do. Wrong. These people were haunted by the executive with DSS and all. We all know the story. Their houses were busted. Their family were attacked. So they now ran for safety, for their own safety, to Abuja. Because that is the only place the executive could not reach on them, could not harm them, could not arrest them. But in the first place, why were they even haunted? If they were not haunted, because they refused to come and inaugurate themselves in the night, you now start haunting them? And people are now blaming them for sitting in Abuja? Okay, should they have sitting in Edo State here and be arrested, be tortured wrongly, unlawfully? Let us please call a spade a spade. Those men are men of integrity in the first place. Men that stood against illegality. What is illegality? There are rules of proclamation. There are rules of inaugurations. And somebody overrided all those rules and did something that is against the law. And these people are protesting against this issue. Just like what the G5 did. That this is against equity and fairness. And nobody is calling Wike the devil for fighting for equity. Call Tom a devil for fighting for equity. These men were fighting for equity and fairness and for justice for the Edo State Assembly. Let us not forget that point.
All right.
That is on that aspect of the old issue.
Please watch your emotions. Calm down.
Now, let's come to the new point.
Calm down.
Let's
calm
come
down.
No, I had to clear that point because it was like
All right.
people are having a wrong idea, and I don't want the wrong idea to be sold to the public
Okay.
about these people that were in Abuja.
Okay.
There was for a reason,
All right,
which
now-
is for their own security reason.
So the issue
Now,
on the ground.
let's go to the issue of ground. There is a very, very good balance of power right now. I'll call it like this because what we have for now, for the past 3 years plus, is a rubber stamp House of Assembly.
But to them, they're not rubber stamp.
I call it a rubber stamp. Listen.
I said, but to
The
them, they are not.
the law says 24 members must, not can be, not will be, must 24 members, House of Assembly. And then you are now making laws, bills, collecting loans with 9 members. 9 members. Not even up to half, which is 12. Talk less of 2/3 or 3/3, 1/3. So, listen, I call it a rubber stamp by my own due observation and opinion because they don't have the local standard of the law to even make bills, as my brother has earlier explained.
But to them, they are not rubber stamp and they made some wonderful laws. So issue on the ground right now, you said it's balanced.
Listen, you cannot make a law that does not include everybody. Listen to me. You have 9 members. Automatically, you are telling me 15 members are not represented. Constituency are not represented. 15 constituency.
Okay, but right now they are represented. So let's focus on
You
the now.
listen to me now, we see.
Yes.
Who now make the laws for those 15 other constituencies? Who now knew what is their interest? Who now knew what they wanted? Nobody. So the law were made by partial understanding of a rubber stamp system. So that is the old one. Now we have a balanced house. Why we have a balanced house? Even though the way the election came, it was a very, very funny election. A wonderful experience that we were brought back to an election of 20 years before. Listen, I was very embarrassed because when I come here on air, I do tell you, Nigeria have gone past the stage of stealing of ballot balls. We have gone past the stage of rigging on of election openly like that. We have gone by the stage of vote buying. That we are even hoping now that with beavers, with everything, we are going to exonerate the democratical system to the highest point of free and fairness, of equity. That's what I was expecting in this election. But what we saw was a shambles. People were stealing ballot balls.
Okay.
After stealing of ballot balls, we go and call results. Are these representatives of the people's will?
Okay.
That is another point.
Okay. Hold on now.
Now we have 12 members.
Yes.
PDP. We have 9 members. APC.
8.
Probably we are going to have like 2 or 3 members Labour very soon. Now, if laws are going to be made now, it will not be like business as usual. It will not be like business as usual. Okay, because you must need to lobby either the Labour representative or Labour the APC representative to have a majority to make laws.
I'll come back to you, Samuel. I'll come back to you. Okay. Someone saying now, as it stands, it's going to be an Herculean task for the present ruling party to have its way with the House, and that may impede development of Edo State. What do you feel about that mentality?
Are you sure we are not going to have a ninth proclamation again? It's a question that we must answer. Wincy,
yes.
You see, when you don't treat the remote cause of a problem, the present predicament will become something that you don't understand. First, for the past 3 years, if the new House of Assembly comes into existence, if they come into existence, the first thing they ought to do that will start giving the ruling party, the People Democratic Party problem, is to first hold their ground. 9 members cannot make law for 24 members. So every bill that they pass automatically should be reviewed.
I think that will slow down the pace of development because
the reason why the governor,
they are already in motion.
That's why there are laws already. But because my constituency, Ego local government, was not represented, Ovia North East 1 wasn't represented, and other local government, other constituency wasn't.
Are you now suggesting that they will start their house by fighting?
What?
Because that's what you're saying right now.
Now listen to me.
They should start their house with fighting.
When you run for a fight today, when you come tomorrow, you're going to face the same fight. He said something that I was not party to. He said they ran down to Abuja because the executive governor or whatever were going to arrest them. He that must come to equity must come with clean hands. If their hands were clean, where are they running to Abuja? You elect me to represent you in constituency 1. Now, a proclamation was given in the night, I wasn't there, and we are asking for a single proclamation. You say you want to arrest me? You should come arrest me. That boils down to what my barrister here said aloud, that because they did not win election by majority, it was really the will of the Godfather. The will of the Godfather might not be in the pool at the primary, because that's where the election starts from. Party primary, you handpick people, and at the end you say, okay, come and vote for them. Now they are there, they'll say, now Godfather make me see this ticket too. But coming back to the present issue, if I was to be in the House, the problem that the governor ran for is going to face the problem now. Because then, it was just a message. We are going to make this one speaker. And because you don't want that person to be speaker, you have to untwist the proclamation. And you refuse to give a second one.
Okay.
So, the problem is going to start from after the proclamation. Who is going to pick the speaker? Mainly you have a speaker. And if he's a person that wants to represent the Edo people, if he wants to go there with pride, if you want to live with pride, if you want people to see him as a man that is actually representing us, the first thing you ought to do is to check through the bills that were sent to the State Assembly, the ones that became law. You have to start reviewing. Then you have to, I'm coming, sir, you have to go back to the appropriation bill first. Do you know, immediately the governor is leaving, a lot of persons are going to institute the legal action against him. Let me shock you. Two-thirds majority ought to pass an appropriation bill because it becomes a law. Now you now say, okay, it's not a budget, let me know to spend it. Now 9 members will just see it. You don't even know how they do this thing.
Okay.
Do you know before now, there are sittings where the independent television will go on record.
I'll show it.
When last did we see something like that? No. That is why they are not even rubber stamp. We don't have House of Assembly. Let's go rubber stamp.
Anyway, we have a house and it's still functional. It's still functioning, and they are doing their best. Alhaji, you heard him. He said it's going to be like nobody's going to shit
this is our sword. It's going to be review, fight. It's if to be in their shoes, it's going to say you have to bring this back again. We have to come talk about it again. If that's the mentality of this person's coming in, do you think Edo State will gain the dividends of democracy?
See, that explains why I decided to make my submissions along that line, my last submission, so that the elected members, the newly elected members of the House of Assembly can learn their lesson and really say no to godfatherism. Godfatherism can hardly stop in African politics. The person that was accusing one of godfather has also become a godfather. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Yeah. It is just natural. When you are in charge, you are the head. And when if you look at it, the office that is most difficult to clinch the ticket in the state is that of the governor. So all your powers put together as members, 24 members of our assembly, put all your powers together, they may not be equal to that of the governor. But if you are one and united, that is where you have the power to be able to really stand and say, the governor, no, our people do not want this. You see, most of the time you discover that the members do not even revert back to those who elected them before taking decisions. They do not go back to them to fill their pulse. They just assume the seat and keep doing whatever they like. It is when the election comes around again that they go back to the electorates. But assuming they normally get in touch with the electorates, look at the problem of Ghana, how do we tackle it? You discover that from the palm wine tapper, from the old man in the village, you will get an idea that will solve that problem.
But now he said this is what he will want to do if he was one of the elected members. I'm coming to that. And with that mentality, is it going to benefit Edo State?
I'm coming to that.
Yes.
I earlier said that those going to the house now should allow bygone to be bygone. Forget whatever happened in the past. You see, we normally pray to God, forgive us our trespasses,
as we forgive those who trespass against us.
So if you pray to God that way, and every now and then you say, oh, I will not forgive that man, I'm going to take my part of flesh, I will revenge, I will retaliate. Reciprocation should be the order of the day. Somebody has done good to you, do good to him. Somebody has offended you, you swallow it. That is magnanimity. Let the state move forward. And that is the only way Edo State will not be tagged as the house of a commotion. So we are going to the House of Assembly as members elect to perform our duties, our roles. Do not forget that the former governor picked the current governor and said he can perform well. I want him. Why many people say no? But because God said it will happen that way, God said yes, it actually happened that way.
Okay.
And so leaders too should not be using all their powers to impose candidates on the electorate. Let them make their choice.
All right. It's all about balance of power. We started with the federal, and now we're coming down to our state, Edo State. You heard the opinions from the way they are talking. You get to know their direction. You get to feel their pulse. Balance of power. From what they also opined, it may start from who will be the house. That's where the fight will start yet again. But if it's going to be, in pidgin English now, Bass Boss, is it going to benefit those citizens? Or we may have a replica of what happened when the house was inaugurated. Your last opinions, gentlemen, on this show. 1 minute each advice to Edo citizens, and of course the members elect. From you, Sam.
Yes. Well, there's nothing much we are going to say. Because, first and foremost, let's pray, as my colleague said, if they will be inaugurated completely. If not only 12 will be inaugurated, another left out. That is number one. So let's advise the executive government to please inaugurate this time around, not in the night, but in the day according to law and as it is supposed to be done.
All right.
That is on one side to the executive arm. Why to the members elect? Good, you are not going there to fight war. You're not going there to make trouble, but going there to correct some deeds that were not done well. So for that purpose, definitely there will be some certain reviews of some bills. There's no way they're going to run away from it. Because this thing are still going to come before them
All right.
when they get there. So this thing got to deal with it.
All right. Thank you.
So we only pray that the majority this time around will take the lead and
Thank you.
Edo State the best parliamentary representative we all wish for.
Thank you so much. Alhaji.
I will advise you, no matter the time they inaugurate the house,
Be there.
it's midnight, make sure you are there.
No,
Even if you are with your knicker and you are supposed to wear, make sure you are there. Be in the house to be inaugurated to represent the people. That is the only way. Do not be technically shut out, and then you'll be knocking the door and the door will open for you. Then you go to court and your matter is not giving accelerated hearing. What have you gained? But go with the mindset of we are going to legislate to make sure that Edo State goes forward. And we also appeal to the executive to ensure that things are done properly. You've seen the lessons you have learned from the last election.
Yes.
If things are not done properly, election time is around the corner and people are watching.
All right.
With the ballot, we can vote you out.
All right. You heard the advice. Be there, even if it's at night. Just be there. Festus, your last line. 1 minute, please.
I want to say this to Edolites in specific. You see, for the past 3 years plus, we've had just the executive and judiciary without legislation.
Festus, please, let's be guarded. We have a legislative arm.
Where the legislation of that state is not normal. The abnormalities affect our existence. When accountability from the executive cannot be given to the legislators, there is a problem. So leaders of thought from Edo State, religious leaders, every good meaningful Nigerians, let's open our eyes this time. We will not let proclamation to be for some. Whoever win an election as a state assembly member must be inaugurated this time.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, the take home for me is like, even if it's at night, anywhere, just be there. Gentlemen, I appreciate you. It's all about the balance of power, started from the national, then down to the state. You know, the issue 24 becoming less than that. People have been talking about it like, ripple effect. But for the national, someone said the Miloko is my turn, or Jesus Carlo. They agree that, well, if you want to take a look at fairness, equity, you might just give it to them. But let's say if the House rule will allow it. After all, is it the first time or second time and all that? I don't know how they do their guidelines. But equity, balance of power must be the watchword. Now, down to Edo State, executive had advised to please inaugurate all members. Not that, according to report, yes, they said they refused to come. They said, no, we're not invited. We don't want to hear that again. Everyone should be inaugurated. And if you are elected, don't go with the mentality of war. Because what will not benefit anybody? It will not benefit you. It will not benefit your constituency. It will not benefit anybody. Because Edo State need to gain from this balance. That's what we want. Good governance, good balance. Gentlemen, thank you so much once more. I appreciate your wonderful analysis.